What's pleasure meeting you virtually, I guess. I really appreciate you doing this with me. But let's start off with your background, a little bit of your story, just so we can, all the audience can get a little feedback on who you are. We'll start there.
Okay, so my name is Rashni Hewawasam. I am a life coach, and I really wanted to start my business after I've kind of figured out my own journey, what am I here to do in my life. And I'm really concentrating on my clients who have mental health issues to really dig deep and find out what's going on in their head to actually make their life better and be more happier. And I'm also an entrepreneur. But how did I actually come here to this point? Is a really interesting question because I come from a really strict culture, very strict culture, and like I wasn't. I came from my parents were like really strict towards me as well. They wanted nothing but perfection
Oh,
from a child, and I didn't know what that meant for me. Being perfect, I didn't know what it meant. So in my head, I was like, I want to be perfect. I want to be perfect, but it's not going right. I'm not fitting in. I'm not fitting in with the crowd and with society in general. Like I wasn't able to like go to casual like dinner outs, and I sort of built my values with sort of that lifestyle because I wasn't always in the society circle.
yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't a part of the lush life either, even though I went to the most like expensive and best school in the country. And then what I did was like I studied really hard, and for some reason, my parents said, if we are giving you the best education, you must learn how to study by yourself because we are not giving you tuition.
Hmm.
And what I did was like all my friends were getting like extra help, extra tuition. Like I'm the only person who's like actually going to the teacher and asking questions. Yeah, so I learned to learn by myself, and I was this kid. I like this was extremely weird. I don't know how I did it, but like no, not many people actually do this. Is that by the age of 3, I kind of mastered my own mother tongue, which is one of the most hardest languages. And if you master it in a like a speaking, like a verbal conversation, because what I did was I looked at both of my parents
Yeah.
and I watched them speak and I connected it with their actions. And by 3, I could speak my mother tongue.
What was
And
your mother? What was your mother tongue? What?
Sinhalese,
Okay.
it's completely different letters,
Okay.
round 67 letters. And I was like, how am I knowing this? I didn't know what I was doing exactly, but like I was using like my common sense to figure out things that are happening around me. So being conscious and aware from a really young age.
Yeah.
And the thing is that like I accidentally went into the advanced Sinhalese class, but English is my like first language.
Okay.
So it's like 2 languages now, right? When I was really young, and then we had to choose between a foreign language, and then I was like, I want to choose French because it looked easy for me, and there was a pattern for me to follow. So I was like, okay, I'm taking French, and like I became an academic somehow, and this actually was a really hard journey for me. And even though it was hard, I was that one student who was like doing all the sums in the maths book. And even though I wasn't good at math in the beginning, I was doing mechanics even before doing physics. So
That's pretty impressive. It's really impressive.
it's like hard work and dedication because nobody was there in the family to teach me. And since it got tough after a particular stage, and like nobody was there, so it was like me challenging myself
Yeah.
to do. And there were several opportunities that came my way because I was like this, was kind of the student. I had an exceptional offer to Oxford University to study medicine. So I was like, why don't I give it a try? Because there is an exceptional seat.
Sure.
And then I was like, I did the entrance exam and I chose St. Hilda's College because I studied piano for a really long time. Like I was doing examinations as well. And I did it from when I was 11 to 18. And I was doing it as like, my mom, I told you my mom wanted me to be perfect in a way. So
Yeah.
I was trying my best in school and balancing piano as well because she kind of liked the idea of me being a pianist. So I was like, at that stage, I was trying to figure out what I actually like. And I was like, I, I, I noticed that I like playing pieces that I liked instead of classic examination pieces.
What are pieces that you like? What do you mean? Like newer stuff or?
Yeah, the newer stuff.
Okay.
So I realized that when you do examinations, you kind of don't have control over the pieces you're learning because it's fixed.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it was really weird because every summer I would be alone and have all the time to myself. And what I did was like, I tried to make a song. I put beats together because what I'm doing is it's incredible because what I'm doing is I'm combining everything I've learned through every subject and try to do something in real life. Like I know how to play the piano, I know how to record it, and I put it together in the computer and make a song. So I'm trying to do something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a younger brother and sister as well, so I took care of them, and this is my kind of my journey. And I for that Oxford seat, I tried really hard the BMAT exam, and unfortunately, they did not take me in because there were not enough seats. How this happens is because I come from Sri Lanka, so the UK first considers British people, then it's Europeans, then it's US, and we're kind of like last on the list.
Right.
Like, yeah, even we come like after India, I guess, because nobody even knows where Sri Lanka is. And I'm like that tiny little island just
Yeah, right off Africa, right? Yeah. Huh.
below India. Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought really about that you would be pushed to the back like that compared to everyone else, especially like at a prestigious university like Oxford. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but I would think just based
The
on.
competition is like really high,
Huh.
especially for us, especially like if you don't have like a foreign visa, you're kind of like the first uh, the like immigrants coming from like the first generation of immigrants, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's really tough to actually have a life internationally for us. We have also currency depreciation problems. Nobody notices us, tiny island. So I was given a scholarship to Carol Davila, so I just took up the opportunity. And it's Carol Davila is one of the best medical universities in Romania, and it's
Okay.
located in the center. And this was like allotropic medicine, so it's approximately 6 years. I know that in US there's different yearly limit, like 10 years, for example, and for Australia it's 8, and UK it's 8. For Europe it's 6, because you get the license and everything all together. So you're doing internship and everything together.
Yeah.
In that. So that's why it's 6 years. So it's like you're not breathing the entire year. You're like studying.
Hmm.
So
was your plan to be a surgeon? Is that what?
I was more interested in cardiology, but that was a really long area of study. it takes 8 years to specialize in it. And then, but I was more like interested in the psychological area because I can understand people, and like I don't know, because I was like out of society, I really tried to figure out myself and then approach the world. So there was a distinction between every other normal person. For some reason, they had trouble reading themselves when they were in so they were entered society at a really young age. That's what I noticed. But when I came, it's like I already knew myself, and then I'm understanding everybody else.
So wait, so go into more detail about that. When you say you can understand people just by the way their body language is, the way they're holding themselves, the way they talk, what do you mean?
Like I think it's a collection of those. It's like you're just looking at body language, you're looking at their gestures, their movements, how they speak. Um, it's their motive, how they articulate things they've learned, and and I started understanding them in depth because I know that like there were I have met actually different types of people, and I kind of compared them as well, but that's more ahead of the journey.
Yeah.
So like at this stage, like I can see that they were really smart people, but they couldn't relate. They are not actually attaining or learning from experience as much as they learn from the notes, you know, physical notes,
Wait.
like
So you're saying they learn more from being out
memorize.
in the
Yeah,
world compared to their notes?
yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. That in it, and in America, like it's like the education system is saying like, okay, how much can you remember based on what we've taught per said class, in which some students
But
don't.
they're not applying it to real life. What I understand is they forget it completely, which
Right,
is they're doing something wrong when they're learning. They're
right.
not actually learning, they're memorizing. And when
Yeah,
they memorize,
yeah,
they
that's
forget.
exactly how I was in my college career. That I would just cram and try to learn, just memorize everything the night before, then go take the test, and then basically forget it all the next day. And just so yeah, when I say did I learn anything, yeah, there's some tidbits I have with me, but becoming said expert into that field, yeah, that wasn't the way I did it. So on other things that I really cared about, enjoyed as far as learning, yeah, but not specific subjects. So depends if I was bored with it or not. My mind was out elsewhere, daydreaming somewhere else. So, but
Yeah, it's really weird because I was hoping for this opportunity. My parents were going to come after me after 1 year, and I had at least 1 year alone to myself to actually learn how to be independent. And I really wanted that because I'm always with the family and I don't go out much because in Sri Lanka there is catcalling and women are not treated properly when they go walking on the street. It's like it's a disgrace if women walk on the street. And I so that therefore I did not go out that much. And my parents like really was overprotective over me. So when I actually had my first year to myself, like it was like rewarding. It's like, oh my God, I can do what I want.
yeah,
And, yeah. And it was cool because like I started even tutoring some of the students who needed like extra help. And I figured out that in med school it's like it's a lot of self study because even the teachers are not going according to the syllabus and they're not covering all the syllabus. Like I had an anatomy teacher who would do 8 subjects per term when they are for a term we had to study like 35 subjects.
damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, so I'm like, we have 35 subjects, you're still on number 8.
Oh wow, that's wild.
Yeah, so it's a lot of self-study. So what I realized is like a lot of students just need notes, for
Yeah,
every subject. So what I did was I sold them.
you
I
sold them,
sold, yeah, I made notes and I sold them.
so you had a little side business going on.
Yeah.
Wait, so you would just make the notes and copy them, and just whenever somebody needed them, just
Yeah, and I used to make the notes, and I used to also like go to a person like who's about to graduate and say if they have any notes from their past, and I would like make their note, I would combine my notes and their notes,
Yeah.
just see like which are the good points and which are easier to like learn, and I will put them all together and then like sell it, because that's what they want, right? They want to learn the subjects faster. That's what they want.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants, a shortcut and how to learn something or do something, and if that's the best way to get it, some people want to take a magic pill and be able to lose weight overnight or whatever, and it's not always like that. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
would back in the day, I would have been the same guy buying notes from you. So
Yeah, but like it was cool because the first day I was in university, what happened was like I was like a leader. I was like getting all the emails done, and I was like telling I will go forward. I will make sure like all the students in this class actually get the material, everything, all of your notes, and so the teachers kept my contact. And what I did was I kept everybody's contact in the classroom, and
yeah,
I was like I played kind of leadership role over there.
nice.
Yeah, so because I kind of learned everything, like learned what was going on and was aware of my surroundings. I could feel that a lot of kids there were like really scared to go forward. So I was like, if you're afraid to go forward, I will go forward.
Yeah, if you're not forward, you're backwards. This is what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to circle back some though. So, you said you grew up in Sri Lanka, correct? So, and you came from strict parents.
Yes.
So, is that the culture? Has always been there that the parents have always, you know, had strict upbringings on their children?
Yeah, the most traditional ones, like who haven't like evolved from tradition. Let's say, if
Okay.
you culture, it's like the woman has to be the housewife, sort of that kind of like image. It was there, and the man has to feed the family. When I was like questioning my mom all the time, it's like, how can one person like feed the entire family? I was asking like weird questions, and she didn't actually like answer me, you know.
Yeah. Well, she probably never got those questions before, and then when
Yeah.
you actually made it a point to ask certain questions, she had no idea how to answer them. I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And like I don't know, my like family was like telling me stuff like on the surface, like they're not like penetrating, like every word they say is like it doesn't have a deeper meaning. It's like on the surface, and a lot of things are unsaid. So therefore I was making sense of the world, right? I used to keep a journal
Yeah.
beside me. Because if they're not going to teach me, I have to find out.
Yeah. I mean, even being that young of an age, I mean, to learn to actually tell yourself to do that and stuff, I would have never thought about that when I was little. But that's very admirable and bold, I think. And your brain seems to be just working at a different pace than most people. Yeah, so that's cool. I mean,
And yeah, I was like collecting information, like because I know I had the house to myself. I had a roommate at one point, and like I was observing her, and like she was trying to like cook for me, and I was like saying that you can only make salads for me, but I can try to make pastas. I can make salmon. I can make rice. So like I taught her how to like cook.
yeah,
But for me, like it was my first time like cooking meat stuff in another country, like, so I didn't know like how well it was done, and I couldn't tell the difference. And my roommate will come to me, and she would help me out in that perspective, because she's good with telling when it's done and when it's not.
right,
So
right.
so I kind of like had someone to like teach me how to progress in life.
Okay, yeah, you had a little mentor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes a way or huge difference in, especially in most people's lives. Just because if you have somebody who went down that road before you, that they can tell you the tips and tricks and
Yes.
little
I
insight.
just need I just need a little help for me to go to the next
Yeah,
step.
yeah. Then you figure it out just from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I knew how to cook, and we were cooking like lavish meals in the in our apartment because like we were eating really well. Because I was like learning stuff. And I was trying to balance it, but there was this one time there when I got to even experience some a relationship of some sort. And before I hadn't actually had that, like kind of experience before, so it was all new.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my
Just because you
and
never got that opportunity in Sri Lanka? Just
never. Yeah,
just because of what you said, that if women go out or anything, it's
yeah,
catcalling. Really? Even to this day, it's still like that?
yeah.
Wow. I wouldn't You would think
Yeah,
things would
and
hopefully be changed, but I guess not.
yeah. And I like my roommate because like she was like trying to push me over, and she was trying that like I was trying to like balance the social life and my academic life, but I couldn't do that all the time because studies were more important. And but I did that, like I didn't sleep for 3 days just to balance it. Yeah, just to try and balance my social life. It wasn't working, and I needed sleep, so I tried it. But no, yeah, I tried it. Me and my roommate, like she's a good person, like, and she is level-headed. So she has like so many relationships that I was observing her during that moment of time.
Yeah.
But she has a level. She's level-headed. She knows how to balance it. So I also wanted to try that kind of lifestyle, but for me, nobody's fitting. Nobody's okay, right for me. Yeah, and and once, like one, I think it was my like second year in med school. I actually met someone who was from my own country,
Okay.
and they scholarship, and we kind of have a lot of similarities, but not from the same school. It was from a different local school, so I just wanted to give it a shot because that person showed interest.
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's see. Like you need to be vulnerable sometimes, right?
Well, yeah, you gotta take chances in that leap of faith in life, and because you can either look back at your life 50 years from now and you'll have those regrets, or you can either say that I wish I would have took that deal, or did that, I don't know, did X said thing, but you don't
But
want
I
to have
learned.
regrets.
I realized like I learned a lot when I like take the chances. I can learn. If I don't take the chances, it's like I don't know what would have happened and what is the outcome of that situation. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take chances in life. I mean, that's most of the people that I follow that who are really successful, whatever your term of or definition of successful
Yes.
is this, but yeah, they've taken a chance on something, and more times than none, it probably failed. But if you don't take a chance, then how do you know, like you just said, that how do you know that where your life is going to take you then? And, I feel like a lot of people are afraid of being successful almost. So a lot of people are afraid of change, I guess they say. So they do said thing and it works out. Then like, oh shit, what do I do now? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, but then it works out, I mean, did it work out in your story?
No, it didn't. But like I don't know. This was like kind of like we were friends before,
Hmm.
and then he was like he wanted to give it a try, and like the way he'd like text was like he wanted like straight up marriage.
Oh.
Yeah, and like after like 3 months, like we realized that he had like if you, I don't know if you know about. I actually tried to learn about relationships because like I didn't know anything about relationships, so I
Yeah.
was trying to learn. And he had these three aspects like commitment, intimacy, and passion. But for me, I did not have the passion. I had the intimacy and commitment.
Gotcha.
And if that didn't happen, I did not realize. Yeah.
So you think those are three key components in all relationships?
Yes.
Huh.
It's
Is that what
yeah.
you learned by,
Yeah. Yes.
or is this something that you just kind of?
It's like what I experienced is like I did not have the passion was not enough. And he said that like since he came from a family of lower status and he did not have parents, so it's like hard for me to like evaluate him. I need a longer period of time, and especially if he says like straight up marriage, you know.
Yeah.
We are measuring everybody's performances by how they treat their family, how they treat their own. So if both of his family members are dead, like parents are dead, it's hard for me to, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that, but you don't always. That's not always the case, though. Just measure your parents'
Yes.
values, right? Though, just because I mean, there's good stories where people have came from complete shit homes where their parents have beat them and they didn't have no morals or values, and but they were the underdog in the stories, but they came out on top of something. They
Yeah.
overcome the odds. I mean, so I
And
mean,
I was beaten up as a kid for the most weirdest reasons, but I kind of forgive everybody throughout my years.
did you just learn to forgive?
Yeah, I learned to forgive. It was
That's really
something
tough. That's really tough for people, just because
because
I
like
mean,
I realized because like a lot of if I seek for vengeance, it's like I'm going into the same cycle they did.
yeah,
Am I? Yeah. So that's my
yeah,
question. That's how I question myself. It's like, am I going through the same cycle if I seek for vengeance? And it was kind of like the stupid reasons because like when your parents want to take the responsibility for to drop you and pick you up for school, like I would be beaten up just because I wanted to go early, you know?
yeah. That just blew my mind. Just like because you wanted to go to school and learn early, you were disciplined for it.
Yeah. And I was beaten up because my dad did not want to wake up early.
Damn.
And it's like I taught them, and that's why they kind of like treat my siblings better.
So you still have
So
a decent relationship with your family now?
yeah, I mean I live with them, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's like we are learning from each other, even though like our conversation seems aggressive on the outside. We are learning from each other, and I'm trying to find better ways to like communicate with them. And it's kind of like I'm used to it, but like I don't think everybody from the outside are used to it.
So are you back in Sri Lanka now living?
No, I'm living in France.
Okay, that's right. I'm sorry. And then so
Yeah.
your parents moved over there with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like so when I was like I told you when in Romania, like I was staying a year alone, and then they came afterwards and they came with French visa.
Got
Okay.
okay.
It's because my dad was a distributor for a Spanish company, but we did not have an embassy for Spain in Sri Lanka, so the closest country they could give a visa for was France.
Gotcha. Hmm.
Yeah, so this is a complicated process.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything all about that, but yeah, that sounds pretty complicated.
Yeah, it's like if the company you're working as a distributor for doesn't have an embassy in the country of you're residing in, you had to come close to at least France. We have a French embassy and a German embassy, but I don't know why not Spain.
Just because Spain doesn't want an embassy over there, you think? Or
Idea.
I don't either. Hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, so coincidentally, they came with a French visa, and it was like a long period French visa, and they found it like really hard to reside in Romania with a French visa because Romanians just make problems of the teeny tiniest thing,
Yeah.
especially the immigration. So my parents after like the end of like the second year or end of my second year in med school, they decided to go and try France, because we've been always wanting, ever since like I was young, me and my family kind of wanted to live in France. So it's kind of like it's a coincidence that we are coming back to that destination that we wanted to
Well,
live in.
why did you always want to live in France?
It's like the southern part of France. It's like the Côte d'Azur area. It's like because you have the yachts, you have the it's the like it's a lifestyle,
Okay. I've
and
I've never been
it's like,
over. So.
yeah, it's like something we always like to do, and like it was happening, it actually happening, and my dad said he's going to take the first step. He's going to be like, I'm going to try to put my business there, and we can work it out. It's like, no, it's really hard for a family to come from a MIC to a HIC, so why don't we do it? Like MIC is medium income country.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Okay.
I didn't know what that was. I was going to ask. Huh.
And HIC is high income. Yeah.
Was this before the pandemic or when I?
It's just before.
Ah, so did that change a lot
It,
of things?
yeah. And this was in 2018. So I had to like, I also have to mention that I was facing anxiety and depression at that time. That
Well,
specific.
before,
Um,
what do you mean before the pandemic? You were?
yeah, it's like 2017 because of these relationships and trying to manage everything by myself and the pressure that is coming from my family and to maintain that level of perfection and relationships and my relations and relatives and the news is going back and forth that Rashni is doing great. Rashni is they're going to be a surgeon. Like they over exaggerate stuff, when they see just one picture.
Well, how do you handle, or how did you handle your anxiety and depression? I mean, was there anything you were doing, or I mean, you seem
Uh,
like to really know yourself, and you seemed, like you talked about you being an academic and you know how to learn, and
yeah, it's like I knew that my mental struggles were started from like when I was young because I was being bullied a lot, and like I never really fit in. And my also have like the pressure coming on from my family. You have to do the best, otherwise you're not going to be accepted by us. It's like if I'm not accepted by society and my family, what am I going to do in this life? And it's like pouring out like where like I really wanted to know like what was my destiny. And I made a decision. I was like, it's going to be a really tough decision. It's for me to change the field. And this came into mind because I realized that I'm not coming from a very rich family, and we have currency depreciation issues. And this is a long period of study. So whenever the 6 years is over, I have 3 years residency and then specialization, and it depends on which subject I choose. And for that educational reasons, I would have to spend more money. The rent as well is going, and we are living in two different places. So all that pressure is like coming on me.
yeah,
Yeah, and like it was amazing because I say life is amazing because I was at that moment like I was preparing for anatomy, and in my notes it used to say the different parts of the brain that handle anxiety and depression. It's a coincidence. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I was studying, it was in my fingertips. So like while I was studying it, what I do is I try to apply it. While I'm studying it, I'm trying to apply it. Like, so when you have anxiety, you have like a destabilized amygdala. So I try to stabilize it by meditating, breathing,
Like breath work.
Yeah,
That
that's
seems to
what.
work wonders on a lot of people that I follow,
Yeah.
and I've done a couple of different little exercises, and I feel completely different after doing deep breaths in and long exhales. Yeah.
Then when you have depression, it's like you only can recall negative memories. So what I did was like I tried to think of positive things that have happened in those negative memories and then recall all my positive memories. That's what I did. and I was learning that. So what I did was I did the opposite of what it just said. In depression, you have this and this and this. So I did the opposite.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, did you not also look towards, like, in America, it seems if you say you're upset or sad or anything, all of a sudden you're prescribed antidepressants. I mean, was that not a route that you wanted to go?
No, the thing is, like, I wanted to go to therapy, but I knew that, like, yeah, I'm in the allotropic medicine, so they're going to give straight away drugs.
Yeah.
I'm not like prepared to take drugs, and I don't like drink that much. But like, I drink alcohol when there's a specific occasion, but I don't. I control myself. Like, I don't smoke. And when the first time I went to uni, is like there are cigarette butts everywhere, everywhere, and it's like hard to make friends because they smoke on your face as well. So
Oh gosh. That is nobody cares right there about how much they're smoking. They just still do it.
yeah, so yeah, and I like, even when it comes, like, I realized that your coffee is like actually more stronger than the coffee in Sri Lanka.
No.
So I realized that I'm getting really addicted to cafe. And yeah, because I was like, I had several like episodes that took place because when once I woke up at 5 a.m. and I just woke up and stood out of the bed for an exam, and then after that I collapsed, and it was like I was shot on the spine. I couldn't, I couldn't move my legs, and this was due to like anxiety, and I was like crawling on the floor crying because I could see black blobs surrounding me. Black blobs that are appearing and
Right.
like going. My vision wasn't very clear. So what I did was I crawled all the way to the bathroom and was kind of using the handle to climb and stand up. And then there was a wall adjacent to me. So I would like use that to support my back so I could try to stand up on my feet.
Right. Good gosh.
Yeah. So there were like certain scenarios, and that's why I had to make the change. It was really weird because that day I tried so hard to get my legs working, and I realized that okay, I didn't puke. Something is wrong. Something is wrong in my system. It's like because I learned that if you have balancing problems, that means um, you have to balance. For your body to reach homeostasis, it's normal for you to lose balance and to puke, but not to only lose balance and not puke for some reason. So what I did was, why don't I try to puke then? And yeah, so yeah, it's like me figuring out what I should do next. And so I tried to puke. I did that, and then it was still. But I don't know. Like I felt after that, like I tried to brush my teeth again, still trying to regain balance. And what I did was like, I was like forcing my legs to work. I think after that, like I was forcing my legs to work after the words. I could balance, but I
Yeah.
needed to force my legs to work, you know? Like take one step, it's like I'm forcing my left leg to
Yeah,
go.
like learning to walk again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I brushed my teeth, like I got dressed. I had no time to take a shower because I don't know how to work my legs. And yeah, I got late that day for the exam, but it was a coincidence. I got a 9 out of 10.
Mm.
It's
Nice.
I didn't know. I thought I was incapable of doing that good at that moment, especially when I was. And it was so weird for me because I actually challenged myself to walk to uni, like to walk.
Was that your darkest moment right there?
Yeah,
Like the hardest point, like you
yeah,
hit rock bottom and
yeah.
oh damn.
And there were like there were other really cool scenarios that took place. Like it was really cool but dangerous at the same time. I'm saying this because those people. I was one of those people as a kid. Like, I really liked helping people. That's why my mom said, like, the medical career will be good for me, because I had this passion of like helping people. And as a young age, like, I would be down for helping people for hours.
Nice.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I don't know. Like, I had an accident back in Romania, and it was like an eye opening moment. And I was in the front seat of the taxi, um, and the glass shed, and it came to my face, and I got so many cuts on the forehead. And I got out of the car. It's like I can't feel anything, but everybody's looking at me like because I'm bleeding like hell.
Yeah, there's so much blood just
Yeah.
because it's so thin right there, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then a random woman in the street showed me to the closest pharmacy, and what they did was they tried to clean my wounds, and they said everything looks superficial. It better go to a doctor. It's kind of crazy because I can walk. The thing is, like, I could walk. It's that they just had to put a bandage, and then I went to the Uni's hospital, and I got my whole entire body scanned, and they did the entire procedures, and they said that for some reason all your scars are superficial and nothing has happened inside your body. So for
Wow,
some reason, yeah,
that's great. Well, I mean, so you were just riding in the taxi and
yeah,
you just got
but
hit by another car?
yeah, on my way to Uni.
Oh gosh.
It's like, and then my mom got a heart attack at that moment, and she's like, what is happening to you?"
Oh no.
Yeah, and then I was like, a series of unfortunate events.
Man, yeah, it's like literally Murphy's Law is just whatever can go wrong is going wrong.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of like decided, okay, maybe I'm in the wrong path. I just need to change. And I changed to entrepreneurship because, like, as I told you, like, I just wanted to earn, you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
earn and make a living. And that was my priority. I knew that the education in the medical system is going to be so long. And first, my parents need to be like super rich to afford that. If my dad is always spending and trying to make his business,
Yeah.
as it's not going to work.
Yeah, it'd be really tough odds to make something like that work, it sounds like. But so that's why you're doing a life coaching thing now?
Yeah, and yeah, it took some while because to actually for me to say that it was life coaching. But at 2018, the end, like in July, like I came for good in France, and I actually came before just check on my parents because I had a week holiday. So I just came to check out, but like I came to stay permanently in France from 2018 July. And my dad, he has this, I don't know, he has this kind of overly obsession to put me in the best university. It's like the best and the most expensive. I was like, that you can learn the same thing in the cheap in a cheap university as well, but like, no, for his prestige, he
Yeah,
just
well, perfection, like you were saying, they
yeah.
wanted best of the best.
Yeah, so he puts me there. And because I think he also knows I'm really capable.
Hmm.
That's why he puts me to the best universities. And he's not scared to spend his money.
Do you think that because you came from a strict upbringing and that you actually learned to, learn, I guess, and learn about yourself and you wanted
Yes.
to, do you think that's what helped you start to succeed in
Yes.
life? Is that even though it was tough at certain points that, you wanted to overcome and over the mountain and become better?
Yes.
Keep
I
striving.
didn't have anybody to help me. And it was like that was so sad. Like it was so sad for me because I wish I could have done this with someone,
Yeah.
like people, like most people do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everyone, we're tribal people, I think, or humans, and somebody, you want somebody to go along the path with you. But what is it that if you want to go far, go alone, but if you want to go farther, go together or something like that.
Yeah,
So
I think you will go far when you are alone.
yeah,
And it's you have to handle yourself alone. Like I really liked hiking, so I tried to like hike in France as well, and I visited so many spellbinding places. And I was taking photography from my phone and kind of editing it. And I came to when I came to university, everybody was wondering what's a med student doing in a business uni. Like yeah, and it was crazy. Like I came to the university saying I know nothing about business, but it was so weird that I was able to actually enter the honors track by accident. I was in the honors track, and I think I came there by accident or something like this. But my friends would tell me you're smart. Yeah. And I would say like I won't consider myself smart because I have a lot to learn, and the journey doesn't end here.
yeah, you can
And
keep learning. I mean, when people, if you're smart, and a lot of people will say that you're smart just because you can take a test and you do well on
yeah,
exams, but that's not always the case. You know, I think there's a huge difference of being common sense smart and book smart, and
yeah, you
they're
have to
also
be
street smart.
yeah, you
Yeah,
have to be street smart as well. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's how it goes. And even the most strict teacher, he was like a Filipino teacher, and he was teaching us stats at the time, and he said that, oh, Rashni, and he calls us by our last name. I don't know why. It's like Hewawasam. So Hewawasam, she made it to the honors track. And then but I didn't have enough money to pay for the honors track. It's like you're doing these three, so the undergraduate study and the graduate study together, you know.
yeah.
It's you're not doing in the separate years. Like I did not have my parents couldn't afford that amount, but I was there. What mattered was like I was selected to go. You can go to the honors track. Yeah, and like because of like my performance in classes, like everybody in the entire uni knew me, from the dean to the program director to the librarian to all the teachers. They would recommend me, and like it was like that uni became like my kind of like family, because everybody, I knew who everyone was, and they were recommending me students who found it difficult to pass exams, and kind of they were kind of lost, I would say, because while I was like reading most of the students in business school and reading most of the people in med school, is like they're like this. People in med school are like this, and
Yeah,
then the school like
well,
yeah.
I understand
So
that.
there's a like difference. I realized that they're so slow, the business people, and like we're a bit fast. Um, so and everybody was like feeling so down. They were feeling like they are incapable of anything. And I would like tell them that they need to put more goals and decide what they actually wanted in life. And I was like coaching them at the same time, and that's how this life coaching just happened.
What
And
do you think that people are down, or mental health issues have amplified just because of social media and the world
yeah,
today?
yeah, only concentrate on social media, only concentrate on the fun. It's like there is no meaning in their lives. They're
Right.
missing meaning. And what I was doing to them is like I'm showing them meaning. I'm teaching them how to pass like the exams in the uni. I'm teaching them how to have goals, how to improve themselves, where they want to be within 10 years time. And I would actually encourage them to have that idea at least.
Was it tough
And
for people to find those ideas or tough to make goals, do you think? Like, they just have no direction whatsoever
yeah,
they wanna go in?
exactly. So what I would do is like I know what they were missing when they told me what they wanted. So I made their life a bit better, I guess. And while I was doing this, I was like coaching and tutoring at the same time. So I'm earning as well.
Mm,
So from this, I decided like I want to help people through life coaching. And this by 2020, I already had this idea like I want to be a life coach.
gotcha. Well, is that mm, did the pandemic
Yes,
like, how did that help, or did it help or not help you trying to be a life coach, or did it actually amplify it just because more
it's it
people
am-
yeah, more people sought out life
yeah,
coaches just because of losing jobs or they didn't know what they wanted to do with their life, and, like, everyone's life just came to a complete halt in 2020, and people started
yes.
reevaluating things, in my opinion, in their lives.
And my dad took me out of uni because yeah, he was like scared that we will run out of money in a new country. Um, so I was like okay with the idea because I knew what to do with my life at that point, and I knew I had gained like the information of how to make my like own business, so I don't have to keep on spending on unnecessary things. It's like we are all the time we are overspending for some things that we don't know because we are incapable of learning that specific subject, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, so a lot of the time, like I thought to myself, the pandemic kind of gave, like, showed me a path, and I was going right in it, right, like just heading and passing through it,
Hmm,
a new path, and it was a life coaching path, just to help people overcome burnout, depression, anxiety, what they're going to go what they can do next in their life. I mean, the learners are going to survive this new era that's about to come. If you're a learner, you can survive anything.
I agree. I think humans are very, very adaptable, and depending on what life throws at them, and especially I guess I said earlier, the pandemic made life come to a complete halt, in my opinion. And people had to learn new ways of doing things, working from home or doing education, with Zoom classes. And I don't know how well that's working in most cases as far as the education system and people working from home. But I actually worked from home for a while and I enjoyed it. And but I've always been a very disciplined person. I kind of like to improve myself in various ways, and I always feel like if I'm not, like I said earlier, if I'm not moving forward, I'm going backwards, and it makes me a little anxiety in myself, and so and try to always find various ways to improve myself, and not all of them are the best ways, but that's how I learn from my mistakes. That if you make a mistake, okay, well, we won't do it that way again, but we can do something different and keep improving, hopefully.
Yes, even that has happened in my life. I have also undergone some sort of awakening, spiritual awakening during the pandemic in 2020. Like I saw some things I couldn't explain, and it was
Wait,
kind
wait,
of
wait,
like
wait. You mean like you saw like a spirit, or what do I know you just said you can't really explain it, but
I
you just had like
it
something that's
yeah
appeared.
it's weird if I explain it. It's like
I won't think it's weird. I think it's interesting. Just
okay. So I saw a goddess of a religion that existed millions and millions of years ago, and I am not like I am a Buddhist. Like I am not from that sort of like it's of African descendant. So
okay.
it's like yeah, it's like it was showing me kind of how things were from the beginning of time, which was really creepy. And at the same time, I'm having a conversation in my bedroom.
So,
Yeah, so it
wait,
was
wait. So explain this to me. So were you at a certain low point in your life and when you saw this, or did it just appear randomly? Or
No, it like I don't know. I guess I was at a low point because I kind of I also met another person that probably I could have a future with,
okay,
and things did not go well because I needed time to see how do I fit in this big picture with that person, and that person did not take it that way because everybody is just understanding things on the surface and not deep. So he thought that I just rejected him for good.
gotcha.
You know? So it's kind of like misunderstandings and rumors like just popping out from different areas without a proper explanation. And then we just die off communication because we are trying to figure out our lives as well.
Sure.
And it was kind of weird because in that like dream, it was like telling me, it was like showing me that this person still has feelings for you. And that's why he's kind of acting weird in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah, it was related to life in my life, yeah, because I kind of saw him in the mirror, which was kind of weird.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Yeah. And yeah, and it was like imagine seeing a goddess of some sort, that of religion that actually existed millions and millions of years ago, of African descent, and then saying, "Why am I seeing this?" And it's like I was questioning that. It was like a really beautiful woman, like sitting in my bed where I put my head on my pillow, and she was like touching my hair, saying everything is going like the hand was going on my head and like down to my down my shoulder. It's
Yeah.
and forth, and I was really scared because it's like nothing like this has happened to me before. And she was like saying everything is going to be all right, and I said, how am I African? I just asked that stupid question.
Yeah.
And he was like, you were not in this life. You were.
So so in a past life?
Yeah,
Huh.
it's
So
really
like
interesting.
reincarnation almost?
Yeah, and it was really weird because I saw a lot of universal symbols and spiritual symbols, and I can't really make sense of it, but it looks like I unlocked something from somewhere.
So before this experience, were you a believer in ghosts and
No,
spirits and stuff like
no,
that? Yeah, I mean,
no.
did it change? I mean, do you believe in them now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, and it was like a special experience for me, was to go on the right path. You're on the right path, and like I don't know, like she showed me so many things, like that guy stereo likes you, and this is your blueprint for the future. It's like it's making me more aware of everything that's happening.
When did this happen? How many years ago? Was it recent?
Yeah, it was in 2020, end of
Okay.
2020.
Man, I've never experienced anything like that, but I've, talked to a few people who have. And like I said, I'm not a believer in ghosts or spirits or anything really. And just that when that does happen and, a true experience like you just explained, it's like maybe there is something out there and maybe just that has never happened to me yet. And
Yeah,
uh,
and it was kind of weird because, like, when a superior being knows exactly what's going on, but you don't know because you're just one individual and you're just in the house,
yeah.
and you don't know actually what's going on. But a lot of people were stalking me at that time, so because they were looking for answers for the pandemic, and they knew I was a medical student
Yeah.
and previously, and they knew that I changed, so they were waiting till I say something about the pandemic. All ears on me and all eyes on my social media accounts. I didn't know that, and it's like she told me that was happening, and it's
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, so I was like aware, okay, people are looking for answers, and she told share everything that you find on your social media. It's like, I don't know, like if show it, tell them what's exact, explain to them, and that's why I kind of made my podcast about the
You gotta,
vaccination.
you're getting
Yeah,
your word out that way and sharing
yeah.
your answers.
My answers, the vaccination procedure, why is it so different compared this year compared to different uh, the years that happened previously. When you release a vaccine, it's drug classified, and when you release those substances, it actually takes 10 to 15 years minimum to release a vaccine, and it depends on how the substance is entered, distributed, and excreted in the body. And you
Yeah.
have to record that, and the efficacies of the drug itself you can determine, and that is long-term and short-term effects. And if you like, this is what we learned in med school. So but it was like a question to me at that moment, is like, why didn't they take the same procedure? What makes COVID-19 so special for you to release a vaccine that soon, and which has no guarantee in safety?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I think that's one misinformation people are seeing, is that even though you are vaccinated, you can still carry the virus and you can still have symptoms, even though they may be less, you know,
that's
extreme.
that's even not the point, because like when you consider like the way you test drugs, it's like you have the preclinical testing, which takes 1 to 2 years, and then you have the clinical trials. So you have clinical trials. First you test a small group of healthy volunteers, which are normally like a small group of 100 healthy volunteers. And then we have phase two of the clinical trials, which is you test a really small group of patients, who are volunteers. So it's like 1,000 minimum patients. And then this also takes 3 to 4 years. And then you test it. You have phase three of the clinical trials. So you have to test it with a group of patients from 3,000, let's say 3,000 patients, and this is all tested against a control. And then we have like two files to fill with like so many pages, like millions of pages. It's like we have the IND application investigating the new drug, and we have the new drug application. So that also takes time to fill. Um, and then we have the post-marketing studies, and all of this at least take 10 years minimum.
So are you saying you're not a fan of the vaccine right now? That
Yeah, because this is the vaccination procedure, and why didn't COVID-19 vaccine go through the same procedure? It's like, for medicine, you can't change the rules. So why is that there? Why is it out there?
well,
You
I mean,
can't, yeah, you can't change the rules for medicine. You can change the rules for business, but not medicine.
I like that. I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think it's just because that, in today's society, especially in America, that people have so many comorbidities such as, obesity, heart disease, we eat processed food and we just live unhealthy lifestyles. So as a matter of fact, that if we can get something, or when I say we, if they can get a vaccine out there as quick as they can, just to help lessen some of the symptoms, I mean, they got to do what they got to do.
Yeah, but for you to have obesity, you had to first learn about how did you get there. You had to learn about the foods you eat. You must learn about the components in the foods, your everyday food, change your diet. And that's how it works. That's how you educate yourself to become less obese, right? You don't have to depend on the drug sector.
I agree
For
with you there, but a lot of people don't do that. They
Yeah,
don't care.
institutions. Like even hormone therapy actually works with obesity, but you have to take only the bioidenticals, not the pharmaceutical things, because there are like hormones that are made out like horse urine, and they are very ineffective to the body. And that's a whole different phase in the pharma industries. Like you can see a lot of people are doing stuff for more money. And the thing is that all the doctors who are working there are too afraid to speak up because they would lose their jobs. And I also wanted to tell you about atherosclerosis. You know, when you get heart attacks, when you get organ failures, and your arteries kind of plugged with plaque.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually a normal process that happens in the body, and this is how the body protects itself from dental bacteria. And I did not know that. And they promote it saying it's something bad that happens. No, it's a reflex system of our own bodies.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
It's how our body even our body protects itself from dental bacteria. And I learned this because I read so many books from doctors as well. So
How do you stay current with all the medical procedures? I mean, are you always reading medical books? I mean, I know you have
yes,
podcasts and
yeah. So like even I can tell you for most of the vaccines, they have this DNA or mRNA from the virus itself, and it's injected into the body. What happens is that when you inject it to the body, this kind of DNA or mRNA from the virus kind of goes into like a particular cell in the body, goes into the nucleus, and then it codes for the spike protein, which has detrimental effects on your body. So, I mean, just this fragment of the virus can cause immense harm to your body, and therefore a lot of research is actually omitted and it was actually released. That's a problem. That's a problem for the medical sector. And even when you have you AC2 receptors actually can be found in your oral cavity, nasal mucus, nasal mucosa, nasopharynx, lung, stomach, small intestines, colon, skin, lymph nodes, thymus, bone marrow, spleen, liver, kidney, etc., etc. So you have even 6 organs. You have this thing called AC2 receptors, and this is the receptor that the spike protein binds to. So if the spike protein binds to this AC2 receptor, it could lead to a damaging effect on the organ itself.
like it will shut down the whole organ.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So it can impair one of its functions,
yeah.
And you also have to know that spike proteins also can activate calcium channels within muscles. So when we talking about calcium channels, there can be involuntary contractions. There can be there can also be a cytokine storm, which kind of when there's a cytokine storm in irregular time periods, this unbalances the kind of homeostasis condition in the body itself. So actually making you reluctant to be even more weaker than you already are. So for me, it's like getting the virus and then developing immunity is much more safer than taking a vaccine. I am unvaccinated and untested. Yeah.
I mean, I agree. So we have a couple celebrities here in America that recently got COVID, and and it's been proven that if you have the antibodies are just as strong, if not stronger than the vaccine. But they also, through the kitchen sink at COVID, they did monoclonal antibodies, they did ivermectin, and just to heal from it. And I don't know if you know who Aaron Rodgers is, but he's a famous NFL quarterback here, and he was actually allergic to part of the vaccine. That's why he never got it. But
Yeah.
he was able to beat COVID really quickly just by using monoclonal antibodies and ivermectin. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people say ivermectin works, but I would say that I have not gathered enough research for to know about ivermectin.
Yeah.
But I could tell you like how the body works because that's what we studied all the time in med school. And we also know a list of drugs, but like I never actually memorized all the list of drugs because I was only concerned of a few and what are their effects on the body.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I guess my point was is that it seems like instead of taking the vaccine, if you do use those two type of procedures to treat COVID, you're automatically seen as a bad person, even especially with the ivermectin for whatever reason. And then
yeah,
also there was an article over here that 200 members of Congress were actually treated with ivermectin, but it was just like pushed on the very back of the news where, it's
yeah.
almost you use ivermectin that you're a bad person, which I know it's confused with horse dewormer, but these were actually prescribed by actual medical doctors in, certain cases.
Yeah, because a lot of the time, when even medical students, they forget. I told you that they forget what they study, and it's like a waste of money
Yeah.
if they're applying it to in real life as well. And I've also noticed that they lose autonomy while they're studying, and they carry it when they become doctors as well. So most of the doctors that are out there lose autonomy. They're scared to actually lose their job. They're scared to actually go their own way after that.
Hope speaking of that, hopefully I can find it real quick. But there's an article. I'm not going to spend too many minutes on it looking for it, but it was actually posted by. Crap. Hopefully I can find it. Please find it. Okay, here it is. Rob Wolf, and he's a famous best-selling author. He's big on food, and he does a bunch of research, like as a biochemist. But anyway, the headline of it is that the FDA asked federal judge to grant it until the year 2076 to fully release Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine data. So, what is that? 50 some years, 55 years just to release all that data. Now, I don't know if
Yeah,
that's been approved or not, but yeah,
that is fishy. If somebody says that, the whole situation becomes fishy because you are supposed to give all the data for Pfizer while you're releasing and like a vaccine that is not properly regulated. The procedures they haven't gone through the procedures. So while you're giving them, you should actually educate the citizens with all the data that's coming out and how fast are they actually recording everything. How do they know that they died from the vaccine? Does the people in the hospital actually record all this stuff? I don't think so. I don't they just give the vaccine, and then they don't even ask you to call back if symptoms are
Yeah, well, I mean, in the beginning of all this, there was a bunch of reports out that if you came into the hospital with COVID, or all right, you came into the hospital with, I don't know, say you lost your arm and you're bleeding out and you die, but they would actually say that you died from COVID just to get additional monies.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still going on, but I know that actually was going
Yes, I know I know some people that who died of cancer or heart attacks, and it will still be ruled out as COVID-19.
exactly.
So the stats aren't accurate as well.
Oh,
It's
well,
like it's like it's like you have to understand everything what's really going before you make a choice.
man, well, where do you see ourselves in 50 years from now? COVID's still going to be around?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
What do you think that?
I think
You mean?
this is just a political situation that has been created just to, and the business people are actually earning more, even more than the doctors. Like the guy, I think the one of the owners of a pharma company, he bought a house in Mayfair right after. Um,
I mean, I don't doubt it a bit. So,
yeah,
I mean, in the news in America, everything is, when I say everything, all news is sponsored by Pfizer. ABC News is sponsored or brought to you by Pfizer today. Then all the other companies just went down the line with it. So,
Yeah. And my dad was like, since you understand how drugs work on the human body, you have a chance now because you've studied medicine and business. You can probably come up with a cure. And I was like, my cure will be holistic, more of a holistic approach. Because the thing is that every time when everybody brings a drug into the story, there's going to be like side effects for sure.
Yeah.
And where you can't just take any drug out there. It's like you have to weigh the risk and benefits, and it's different for everybody else's body and what they are going through as a family. Is the disease hereditary? All these questions. Like I was an intern, so I had to ask the patients so many questions before I can prescribe a drug to them. And if I didn't properly weigh the risk and benefits, it's like the death is on me.
Well, yeah, 100%. Just because, if whatever your drug works for person A might not work the same way for person B, just because of their microbiome or whatever is completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I get it. But yeah, and I think a lot of people. I mean, that's great that you would actually list out all the different positive and negative effects of it. But because a lot of people are usually just, I don't care, just give me the drug. So
The quick fix.
yeah, that's what they
Actually,
want.
in April, I wrote a list of the people who are most likely affected by the vaccine and to not take it. It's like the people with the weakest immune system, so it will affect like pregnant women, people who live with catheters, even some of the elderly people as well. It will affect them as well. People who live with thrombocytis and kind of have have irregular heart rhythms. Those are the people who are going to be affected, or diabetic patients. And I wrote like a huge list of the people who shouldn't take it. And it's also because I cared, first of all, and I just said that like many people facing some sort of autoimmune disease, I'm guessing. So that is also something that you should actually question the doctor about before you receive the jab.
I agree with you. Yeah, a lot of people don't ask those questions.
They just get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the beginning, I think it was just because everyone is scared, is and was scared of of COVID. So they were told, yeah, if you get the vaccine, you'll be safe. But a lot more information seems to come out now, and that you got to give people the freedom of their own choice if they want to take it or not. Here's your information. Ultimately, it's up to you if you're going to take it or not. So
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like as soon as like I was going with it, I did not believe that the COVID-19 disease was fake. Because everybody was telling that the hospitals are getting filled up, and it was no joke to me.
right.
And when the vaccines came out, is when I started doubting this whole scheme. Like it's a political scheme, because the thing is that I told you I have reasons to. I'm a medical student. What I've learned
Yeah.
is completely different. So I have a motive to question everything that's happening, and I was so sure they will mandate the vaccines, and they did. And as soon as they did, it took like 6 months or so, I guess. And as soon as they mandate the vaccines, the thing is that more doctors actually wanted to go on strike and actually speak about it. So it was like a win for me. So I was like, yeah, now you're speaking. It's like because the thing is like one of the reasons why I gave up medicine is because you don't have freedom of speech.
That's really. I mean, I agree 100% with that. You're told what you can and can't say by the the business people, the higher ups and stuff, correct? The CEOs
Yeah.
and whatnot. Just you're only told that you can probably speak about X thing just because it'll actually be positive news and bring in more money
Yeah.
and whatever.
And vaccination, vaccine means a weaker kind of strain of a virus or bacteria. That's a vaccine.
Okay.
It's like the most like simplest definition I can give you, but you have everything you need inside your own body, your own immune system, to protect yourself against any disease. We already have T helper cells, we have macrophages, we have adaptive T cells, we have B memory cells. That we already have these we have granulocytes and monocytes as well. And we already have all these components in our body, and it's like you don't need a vaccine to actually trigger them, you know?
Yeah.
It works in the same way with or without the vaccine. The vaccine just supposed to speed stuff, but in this case, it just causes more damage than speeds the process.
Interesting. I mean, what is your thoughts on the flu shot? I mean, since it's an actual weaker version or a certain strain of the flu, right?
Yeah, but like you can never actually cure yourself from flu. You will not be immune by flu. It's like getting a shot for the cold. It makes no sense.
That makes 100%. That makes sense. I've never been a flu shot person, but I did get one last year just because I was a little nervous with COVID and the flu coming around. So, well, maybe like one of my biggest fears was if I got COVID, I was giving it to somebody. Like I feel like if I got it, my body could handle it. I feel I'm pretty healthy. I don't smoke. I don't have any comorbidities that I would be able to fight it off pretty easily. But giving it to somebody else that was either, like we've been saying, sick or had comorbidities or, vitamin D deficient is one biggest thing that they get it and they suffered from it. I feel bad. So I didn't want to be that person. But anyway.
Yeah, so like there was I don't know if you have actually read stuff from Dr. Robert Yoho, where he says he comes up with this dramatic title called Butchered by Healthcare. He just tells everything what's going on wrong in the pharmaceutical industry. And then
What's his name again? Let me write it down.
Butchered by Healthcare.
Butchered by Healthcare. Okay, sorry, I'm going to cut you off there.
Yeah, by Dr. Robert Yoho.
Okay.
And then there's this other book I wanted to tell you. It's Pete. His name is Doctor. He's an MD as well. Peter McCullough. I think that's his name. Like he gives a full explanation of what's going on.
Okay.
Like everything, like all the details as such. So I really keep up with him. He's also an MD, and he's actually fighting against the vaccine.
Interesting.
So let me just check the full name here, but yeah, it's Peter MC and CULLOUGH.
Okay. That's who it is. All right. Well, I like to, I'm interested in this stuff right now, and I like to try to, at least when I'm speaking about it, have good talking points and like know both ends of it.
Yeah.
And that way, like I said, you give people the freedom of their own choice to take it or not. It's like it's on you. So.
Yeah, and there was another guy who wrote a book based on all of his findings, Dr. Peter McCullough.
Okay.
I don't know what that book is. I can send it to you through email because I have it.
That'll work.
Yeah, the name of the book, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I was hoping to end this podcast on a good note just because we're running short on time here, but but yeah, I guess just give people the freedom, look up stuff, don't be, do your own research. So, but if they want to find you in your podcast or anything, how do they do that?
So you can find me from www.teoac.net, all simple letters, no spaces. So Teoac is TAOAC.
Okay. And podcast.
My podcast is like you can listen to it on any device. It's Teo Podcast : The Pandemic Press. I also have a book that is released. You can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. It's called Unveiling the Truth Behind Catherine's Destiny.
Great. Any social media? Do you do all that stuff, or
Yes.
you want to give that out or no? It's up to you.
Yeah, it's everything is out there. So it's
Okay.
like you can get it. You can get the ebook is available because during the pandemic I was trying to get the physical book out there, but it wasn't possible because the people working with me took time to actually release it, and it was like getting irritated. I was getting a bit irritated because like I wanted it to be perfect.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand that. But okay, well, thank you for doing this with me. This was appreciate you conversating with me. I enjoyed it. Um,
no problem. Thank you for having me.
no problem at all. And so, all right, people, be good to yourselves and all that good stuff. And we're out of here.